it is. Yes, it
And I
is.
know you may have people who speak English. So can
Yeah,
people consult you in French and in English? And
of
then I
course.
also saw that you do sound therapy. I don't know if you can call that.
Hmm.
So first of all, I don't know what is PNL. My people, Coach Balkis, she is a PNL coach. In French is programmation neurolinguistique. In English, what is it in English,
It's
Balkis?
NLP, so neuro linguistic programming.
Ah.
So that it's just the wording is different in terms of the order, but it's the same thing. It's neuro linguistic programming. So that means that since you were born, you've been programmed, even from the time you were in your mother's womb, you've been programmed. And your way of thinking and your way of speaking. I like to give this example as a baby. When you're born, if you start crying and your mother responds right away to you, you learn it's programming that, if I cry, she responds right away. Versus if I cry, she yells or she doesn't, and I'll stop crying. It's a programming that's done. So it's something that your brain will register the neural part, the programming part, and then you'll express it in the way that you speak, in the way that you act, and that's how we say linguistic. And the linguistic part that I didn't say it in French, but it's very important to know that as a coach, we are taught to observe the linguistic and nonverbal cues of our clients. So as you're speaking, for example, if I keep on saying, I see what you're saying. Oh, I didn't see it this way. Oh, I observed this. Or, oh, then you know that that person is mainly visual. Versus somebody, when you tell them something, it's like, you know what? I don't understand this. Like, I don't hear it, or I don't understand. Like, they use words where their more auditory sense is heightened. Or somebody that goes, I don't feel you. I can't accept this. Well, they're more kine. That means they feel things. And that's the linguistic part. Depending on what type of language they're primarily going to use, you can use that as a coach to kind of start saying, you know what, let's use your other senses to deprogram what you've learned and your only way of expressing yourself. So that's the whole neuro-linguistic programming. And it's the tools that we use as coaches to accompany our clients so that if they have an objective, how can they reach their objectives?
Wow, that is so amazing because when you talk about programming, it reminds me that even as people who work on radio and television, they actually call it programming. Like
Mm-hmm.
television and radio
Of course.
program,
Programs.
they
Yeah.
call them programs. And us, like I have a card, my access card to the Shah building is
Uh-huh.
it says programmer. The first
Program.
time I
Yeah.
got my access card, I was looking at it and I was like, I'm a programmer. I program people.
Yeah. And you are programmed
My
at the same time.
program
Yes.
programs people. So
Of course.
so your work is in case, we all know how the media corrupts people.
Your words, not mine.
But
You work
maybe
in
this is
media. Of
because the media is also doing some programming,
course it
and
is.
people need to realize that it's programming, even though it's a show, it's
Of
entertaining,
course.
but it's programming. So
Mm-hmm.
your work is also to be a programmer and to program people. But
Mm-hmm.
now you are not programming people like the media does according to their own agenda. You
Mm-hmm.
program people according to their
Yes.
own chosen agenda. Like, I'm going to come to you with my agenda, and you're going to help me program me according to my agenda versus me just being programmed
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously, unconsciously,
Yeah.
without even, just by tuning into some show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
that's
and you did a beautiful resume of it because often in coaching, what we do is that when we accompany the person, we challenge them into trying to one deprogram what they thought, because if it doesn't serve you, why keep it, right? Why keep on believing in that? And your beliefs, human beings, we're made of beliefs. We're made of stories. When you hear them talk, and as somebody that comes in, it's, they talk about their past, and they're like, well, my dad and my mom used to do this to me, and blah, 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 blah. And they're full of beliefs. When we do know that once something happens, like I have this experience with you right now, when I'll speak about it in future, my memory of this experience will decrease as time goes on. by next week by 50%. What will still stay in my programming is based on my linguistic abilities. Am I somebody that's visual? So I'll be able to say what you're wearing, where you're sitting, what you're sitting. But because my auditory is not as developed, I'll forget probably a lot of the words that were used. So when you say programming, the media, obviously the radio, for example, used to use in fear when there was a war. So it was, programming people to believe something. And we all know how strong that can be. We have this history, countries that only by the radio started wars.
Oh, yeah, I'm from Rwanda, yeah.
No, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to program people and have them believe something. So it's very important that when somebody comes to me, I use their map of the world. I use their words. I use their programming, and I challenge them to deconstruct some of those beliefs that they're not beliefs. They're not serving you. There's just scenarios and stories. What are the facts? And then we stick to facts, and then you attach an emotion to it after. Then it becomes more, propulsing, and you can use it. But if you go emotions first, based on your programming, external programming, anger, fear, hate, we see what happens. So it's a very good, what you said before, programming of people. You need to basically be self-aware, and that's what coaching is to become self-aware of who you are, what your values are, so that nothing external can come and derail that.
That is so fascinating.
Mhm.
That is so fascinating because when you need a coach, when you need to lose some weight, go to the gym,
Yes.
get a coach, you see, you the problem, and slowly you will see the results. And obviously if you have a coach, it's always better. There is no team which doesn't have a coach. In order for a team to win, they need a coach, and the
Yeah.
coach changes everything.
Yeah.
So can you tell us some of your successes? We
Mhm.
will, we're not going to ask you who are these celebrities that you're working with.
Knocking on my doors.
But give us an example of someone who was really fat, and then you had to help them trim off all that fat, and get
Mhm.
lean and get healthy, and then boom,
Yeah.
get into success mode.
I like that you use that those words, because often when we talk about losing weight, because obviously again, programming, when you tell your brain, because your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. All it knows is that, for example, like if you tell children, stop running, they'll continue running. All they heard is running. But if you say, can you walk, please? They'll probably walk, except for the ones that are very stubborn, but most of them will probably walk. So it's the same thing when you talk about losing weight. If you just change the wording so that your brain captures and programs itself in a positive manner. When you say, I want to lose weight, your brain is like, why do you want to lose something? What's wrong? Why do I want to lose something? If you say, for example, well, I want to gain in lightness. I want to gain in health. I want to gain. So the brain is like, oh, I gain. I can win something. I can get something. That programming is different. So already there, when we coach, we try to also use words that are more positive, more, that will bring you forward and step forward towards your goal. So without saying somebody that was fat, but depending on the different people, I do have most of my clientele are women, and women that are scared to voice their opinion, to take their space, to be, at the center of attention. So the root cause is, what is your biggest fear if you do that? What is your biggest fear if you become the next Louise Uwacu? Somebody that, we watch, we hear. What is your biggest fear? Sometimes it's, that they'll see me as a fraud, or that, they won't. Okay, are you a fraud? What about you is fraudulent? So it's always deconstructing those beliefs that you have of yourself, reaffirming what your values are. So that way, okay, the fact that you said becomes low confidence, low self-esteem. That's the fact. Okay, well, now let's gain something. Confidence, self-assurance, your voice, your place in this life. Who are you? I'll give an example. I'm a mother, I'm a spouse, I'm a coach, but before that, I'm Balkis. Who is Balkis? Then the rest are all different hats. So it's really important for people to know who they are, what their values are, so that they don't stay fat, and they gain health, they gain healthy habits, they gain stuff, and then they become really anchored to who they are. So those are really, I can say without going into much details of success stories, but most success stories are that. It's just being self-aware of who you truly are and what is your purpose.
Kind of how you probably had to work on yourself because you completely changed your career path. And then on top of changing your career path, you're taking a risk. You're working for yourself. You're starting your own company. So
Yes.
like the confidence to start your own company and to understand that you have something to offer, and then the confidence to go back to school when you have actually finished school, you got your degrees, you got your job, you got your house and everything, and now you got to go back to school and start from zero and do something completely different. Like, what are some of those things that even you had to like practice this stuff on yourself, which I really like, because you can tell people that you're not just preaching, that you've been actually practicing.
and still do.
Yeah. So what are some of these things that you have to kind of coach yourself, practice on yourself in order to get to where you are today as a coach?
I would say surprisingly confidence. Even though I was very confident in my previous career, I had my psychology degree, I have my management degree, I had different degrees and different experience where I was constantly validated into that I was doing a good job. So for me, it was like my career, and I identified a lot myself with my career. And I remember you telling me when I was younger, this is not your father's company. And I still hear that till this day. This is not your father's company. So, and it's funny because
you were so dedicated at the job and you were working, and me, I'm so relaxed, and I'm like, Balkis, why are you so dedicated to this job? You don't have no shares. This is not your father's company, man.
I remember that, and you know what? It still resonates with me, but differently, because that confidence that I had, I was doing it for external reasons, right? That dedication, I was doing it for external reason, but I still have those in me. So now when I did make that switch, and I don't like to say, for example, that I started from zero, because there's no really like a spectrum. I'm starting from where I was at and trying to move forward. Confidence was not there in terms of this is new to me. This is the unknown. However, I did have confidence before. So it's about taking this confidence and transposing it into this new world. I've always had it. I like to give this example when people are cooking, or if you're a very good cook, some of your audience, you guys are very good at cooking. And then next thing you know, we tell them, can you do, X, Y, Z? And you're like, well, I'm not good at that. I don't have those skills. That's funny, because you make a really good lasagna and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So you do have confidence. It's not changing. It's there. It's because the task is different. So I had to learn to understand that all these tools that I'm working on, confidence, self-awareness, public speaking, like I'm speaking to you right now, and I've always spoken in all the jobs that I've done, but I'm like, oh my God, people are going to hear me. Are they going to be interested in what I'm saying? I speak too fast. Your brain has a million reasons not to do something, but then there's only one reason to do it, right? It's to be me. So it's using those skills that I've had in my previous life, I like to say, my insurance life and financial services, and just transposing it to my business. And it's a work in progress, obviously. There's a saying in coaching, I can only take you as far as I am. When you accompany people, you walk side by side with them. I can't take them far if I haven't worked on my own issues, that I'm doing a disservice. So as a coach, I need to be coached myself for certain things in order to help and accompany my clients. So I'm my own success story. Even as a mother, I've completely changed. I'm not the same mother than when I used to be working for financial services, because I'm tired, I'm stressed, I have this and I have that. Now it's more like you say, I'm more relaxed. Do I scream from time to time? Yes, because children. But I'm more relaxed and I'm more conscious of the fact that, you know what, there's no need for me to scream. It's fine. It's not that important. We're good.
That's amazing, because you see the confidence that you have, and the capability, the capacity,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to do something and to be in charge, is what these companies were paying you thousands and thousands of dollars to work for them, and they want you to work, every day for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, it always, sometimes it feels like when you're working for other people and they're paying you so much money, and then so you're like
It's an
deploying
that
yourself,
incentive.
you're
Yes.
doing all these great things, and then
Mm-hmm.
when it comes time to work for you, to put all these great things that they pay you so much money for, to
You
put
lose
them
everything.
into your own company, now that you're working for yourself,
Yes.
it's like, it's a little bit hard, and then you lose a little bit of the confidence, and
Yes.
it's not even understandable, because they pay you in other companies
Yeah.
for it. So how come when you want to use it for yourself, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what happens, you know what I mean?
It's the whole thing about doing something for external reasons versus internal reason, as we said before. Les valeurs extrinsèques et intrinsèques. When you're being paid, and all you're trying to get out of there is your next paycheck because you have bills to pay. Because then there's reality, and let's not forget sometimes that reality forces us to do certain things that. However, when you're doing it just to get paid from, that's an external value. You could still be an employee of XYZ company because you choose to be. And the biggest power we have in life is choice. We choose to be here. Our existence is based on the choice. So that's the biggest power that we have. I choose to work for this company. I choose to know my value and to know how much I should be paid and whatnot. And if it doesn't coincide, then I will go somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. However, if you feel that it doesn't coincide with your values, yourself, who you are, and all these external things are not representative of you, then ask yourself, what is it that I want to do with my life? For what purpose? And that's what brought me to becoming a coach. I've always, like you said, been very wary of other people's well-being. And
Everybody relies on you.
everybody relied on me. Everybody wanted to tell me their stories, and I'm like, at one point, it's like, well, how come people do come to me? What is it about me that makes people share their stories, feel better, and actually do something about it after? It's not like, okay, I feel much better, and now I'm going to go back in my bed, and 2 days later they'll call me back and do the same story again. No, they would actually do something about me. And I like that, because a lot of my friends would tell me, you know what, after speaking with you, I started my own business. I did this, I did that. I'm like, so I had to ask myself, how come all these people are being inspired by me and I'm not even being inspired by myself? I have a bigger purpose. And it's to take conscious of that, to say that internally, when I work on myself and I know what my values are, then I can help people bring something better into this world as well. And I truly believe that we do what you're doing with your show is a platform. And I use the word platform instead of programming. It's a platform for people to step on. And so, you know what? Let me use this to be a better version of myself.
Yeah, I use my platform to promote people who are doing great things
Exactly.
that benefit all the people who may be watching, because thousands of
Exactly.
people are watching. So
Yes.
I'm always thinking, how is this going to benefit the thousands of people who are going to watch? And this is
Yeah.
so helpful, because I know that a lot of people, a lot of people want to go to the gym. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A lot of people want to go to the gym, the mental gym, the spiritual
Yes.
gym, and the physical
Yes.
gym. And it's important to have a coach, because nobody wins without a coach. It's important to invest in that.
It
So
is.
what about,
Invest in yourself by investing
yeah,
in.
investing in yourself? So
Yeah.
this is the contact, my people. Contact Coach Balkis. You have the email, you have the phone.
Mhm.
um so, like, how much is it, if you don't mind telling people
course
How
not.
much is it to consult? And is there any specials for like someone who says, for example, I need a coach on a regular
Mhm.
basis all year
Yep.
round. I'm gonna take a coach for all year round, or
Yep.
like like what's the so that people can budget.
Of
Everybody,
course. Of course.
a
Of
lot of a
course.
lot of things have increased. Prices have gone crazy on
Hmm.
food. Steak is $30.
Yeah. And it's good that you ask, and I'm not shy about it because it's at the end of the day, when they're going to call me, I'm going to tell them the truth. I have different rates. If you take it at a carte, and it's for just one session, then it's $120 for the hour. Okay. If you take, for example, three, then you tell me, you know what, I know that I have this objective. I think three is enough, and I trust you. I trust always if you believe three is enough, then you know what, I'll be like, okay, it's 110. If it's five, it's 100, and if it's 10, then I'll take 80. So I really base it on what people have been shown me that their monetary capacities are right now in this economy. And I actually like to tell them also, coaches, because right now, especially after the pandemic, I don't know about Vancouver or British Columbia, but in Quebec, psychologists there's waiting lists, incredible waiting lists for psychologists and psychotherapists and all that are mental health professionals. Our health system is saturated. People are crying out for help. Coaches can be there to assist you for things that are not mental health issues. We're not licensed for that. But if you have something, for example, that you say, I have an objective, but I lack confidence. I have an objective, but I have a fear of this, public speaking. I have an objective, but I seem to procrastinate all the time. It's like, you want to stop a certain pattern, then contact a coach. Don't wait for a psychologist. Don't wait for a therapist, And even if you're doing well, let's say tomorrow you were like, you know what, I want to start my own podcast. Contact a coach. Because what we do is we'll make you say, you know what, you want to have your own podcast? First of all, why? What is your purpose? What will you be doing with it? What about having your own podcast will make you XYZ? Okay. What, how, when? So then once that's determined, it's like, okay, now let's work backwards. What are some of your objectives to get there? And I will take you accountable for these things. I will be behind you and I will say, how did you go? What did you put in place? What were some of your strategies? What are some of your qualities that you already possess to have this podcast? And what are some that you need to, maybe work on? So contact a coach for objectives. Or if you are really not well with yourself and who you are, and you're like, you know what, I'm made for something else. I don't like this dynamic. Couples also, it's hard right now for couples to stay together and to grow as a unit nowadays because we're bombarded with information. And the neurofeedback that I do, I like to say that my main clients, and it's very close to me because I did use it for my son, and that's how I discovered neurofeedback, is because he was diagnosed with ADHD. I don't like labels. I don't believe that labels is something that till this day, he doesn't know, maybe he won't watch this, but that, technically somebody said, your son has ADHD. Okay. As a mother, because I didn't want him to be constricted to that label, because he's so much more than ADHD. He is his name, his person. Let me try to find a solution that's non-invasive, that's natural, where he naturally gets to develop his own tools. And so since I believe in programming and deprogramming, neurofeedback is definitely that. It's this gym exercise that you do to get your brain to be more adaptable, and the neuroplasticity aspect of it to be more resilient. So.
Wow. Okay, let's take a tiny break and then see if people have questions in the audience.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Balkis. This is amazing.
Thank you, Louise.
This is so helpful because I know a lot of people want to succeed and they just need someone to push them. This sounds like, when you have a mastermind group, they keep you on your toes. Having someone to hold you accountable. What have you done? Where are you at? That helps you so much to succeed,
Of course. Well,
you're like being a mama to everyone.
You have to have what I like to say, I heard this one, your OQP, only quality people. So have your OQP around you,
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a short break and keep seeing what the audience has to say. All right, my people. So we have been speaking with the amazing Coach Balkis, Queen Balkis. Let's see if somebody has any questions. Otherwise, we're gonna let her go because the 1 hour is almost here. My people, thank you so much, everybody who is in the chat room. I've seen your comments. I see the comment that I hadn't put on the screen yet in Kinyarwanda and Gandu. He's saying, aka gakobwa se ni akanyarwanda ngo nibarize. Balkis, this is for you. Okay, I think we're in the Kinyarwanda section now. So he's like, so this girl, is she Rwandan? So I can start asking her number and stuff like that.
Oh my God, my Rwandan people, like, never change, right? Never change. I'm very flattered. Thank you for considering me to be, one of your own.
Oh, my people, she's definitely African from Haiti. I love Haiti thanks to her and so many other great Haitian people that I met in Montreal. It was a great experience. Alors, je pense pas qu'il y a beaucoup de questions là ce soir. On va vous laisser partir. Est-ce qu'il y a des choses qu'on n'a pas dit, que vous voulez dire, qui sont importants, que le public devrait savoir afin qu'il puisse vous contacter? Est-ce qu'il y a des choses qu'on n'a pas dit que vous voulez dire avant de nous laisser?
Je pense qu'on a pas mal fait le tour. Je pense que je voudrais finir sur la note de dire comment c'est important, et tu l'as dit tellement souvent, de prendre soin de sa santé mentale. C'est aussi important de prendre soin de sa santé physique, de sa santé spirituelle que de sa santé mentale. C'est un équilibre. Alors, quand je parle d'un aliment de soi pour une vie équilibrée en couleurs, les couleurs, parce que je suis une personne très colorée et très créative, et c'est ça ma méthode, c'est du coaching créatif. La partie branchée, c'est parce que je fais du neurofeedback et je vous invite à vraiment essayer cette technique d'exercice pour le cerveau. Vraiment, c'est incroyable. Et si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à m'écrire. Et une vie équilibrée, oui, c'est possible de vivre une vie équilibrée pour la question que tu as demandé au tout début. Donc, j'inviterais les gens à se questionner qu'est-ce que ça représente pour eux, une vie équilibrée, c'est quoi leur propre équilibre. Et si vous avez de la difficulté à répondre à ça, contactez un coach, contactez-moi. Et c'est vraiment le travail qu'on va faire ensemble pour que quand vous êtes équilibré dans la vie, tout est possible. Vous n'êtes pas en train de tituber, vous marchez droit and you know where you're going.
Donc, oui, voilà en tout cas, moi, je peux highly recommend, je peux vraiment recommander Balkis. C'est une personne fiable. Vraiment, je peux dire que vous êtes une personne fiable et qu'il n'y a jamais eu quelqu'un qui a fait confiance à Balkis et puis qui a été déçu.
Moi, je l'espère pas. Et j'aime dire, c'est que ce que tu reconnais chez les autres, tu l'as en toi. Et c'est la même chose pour toi, Louise. Louise a fait ça en l'espace. When you want to be on your show, now that's done. Like, this is Louise. Elle est fiable elle aussi, donc qui se ressemble,
Ouais, je pense que c'est pour ça qu'on est restés amis pendant très longtemps parce qu'on sait que quand cette personne dit quelque chose, on peut faire confiance à cette personne. Si cette personne vous promet quelque chose, vous savez que c'est réel, ça va arriver. Si on a un rendez-vous, la personne va respecter. Donc, vraiment, je pense que bravo. Je suis fière de ce que vous avez accompli et ce que vous êtes en train de faire là. Je vous connais depuis plusieurs années et puis vraiment, je suis très, très contente de ça. Je sais que ça va aider énormément de personnes. Et puis, alors, on va terminer sur cette phrase, votre phrase que j'ai adorée, que j'ai vu ça sur votre site web. Oui. Je matérialise la mission de mon âme en transformant la vision de mon rêve à une réalité.
Ouh, ça me donne encore des frissons jusqu'à ce jour. Oui, vraiment, ça résume vraiment ce que je fais en fait. C'est cette vision d'être quelqu'un qui accompagne les gens. Oui, c'était un rêve, mais là, je le fais. Et c'est au plus profond de moi, c'est vraiment ma raison d'être, qui je suis, d'être une accompagnatrice, d'être une catalyseur au changement. C'est ma mission de vie. Ouais.
Wow, Balkis, je pense qu'on a fait full circle là, parce que ça me rappelle, quand vous parlez de la vision, ça me rappelle de Positive Vision.
I know!
Quand on a commencé Positive Vision à Montréal, vous étiez là. Oh là là, je pense que là, on a fait vraiment full circle.
Full circle.
Parce que le but de Positive Vision, c'était l'éducation et l'inspiration à travers la radio et la télé. Et là, regarde, on est là, à la radio, à la télé, et on est en train de faire l'éducation et l'inspiration.
Oui, on l'a manifesté et là, ça.
On l'a manifesté, on est en train de le vivre.
Donc, félicitations à toi aussi, premièrement. Big ups to my sister, my queen, to all that you're doing. Vraiment bravo à toi aussi. Puis merci pour cette opportunité.
Wow, on est ensemble, c'est mon téléphone.
Il n'y a pas de souci, un téléphone. Merci, Louise.
On est ensemble, Balkis. Bye bye. Bisous à tout le monde. Bisous à Montréal, à la famille, à tout le monde. Et puis, vraiment, félicitations et bravo pour ce travail magnifique.
Merci beaucoup. Merci, Louise. Merci à toute ta famille UNI Talk Show. Allez, à la prochaine.
Merci.